Hi there. It's Tom and Tom, podcasting as we occasionally do, building our library of useful information that we are sharing. And today, we want to, as you may know, our focus is supporting founders who are on the verge of rapid growth. Now, that's not to say that we don't want to help founders who are in the midst of rapid growth. But our preference would be that if you're about to experience rapid growth, that's the time to do it. It's just a lot easier. It's sort of like doing the wiring in your house before the drywall is up. It's a lot easier than doing it after the drywall's up. You got to do a little cutting and fixing to do it after. So that's why we prefer to focus on founders that are on the verge of rapid growth. Now, the catalyst for rapid growth is almost always what?
Catalyst for rapid growth. Hopefully it's actually revenue growth and customer growth.
Well, that's rarely it. Because if you rely on that, you tend to grow organically and it's a lot slower and steadier.
Mm-hmm.
When you have rapid growth, it's usually when you've maybe got some pre-seed capital and you've proved out your market product fit and you've established that you have something viable and you convince somebody that it's viable and they go, here's a big check, go spend it, scale, get big, make money. And then the chaos begins. And
yeah, that reminds me of my brother-in-law was employee number 21 at Tesla. Now, he got hired in one of those funding rounds. So although he was employee number 21, they had like over 100 employees within 60 days after that.
Wow, that's rapid growth.
So and that's exactly the type of growth that you described.
Yes.
I prefer the other growth, mind you.
It's a lot easier to manage, but it's also slower and steadier. And while a lot of entrepreneurs might want to build a legacy, and that's the best way to do it, others want an exit. And if you want an exit, the best way to go about that is to grow fast.
And I'll just pick on the Tesla example because I happen to know the guy who was there. Changing the culture at 21 people versus changing it at 100, the difference in those 60 days is huge.
Oh my goodness. And this is the point. But more importantly, what I want to talk about is that moment when you know you're ready for that next round of funding. You have to get ready for the inevitable due diligence. And, we've talked to a lot of venture capitalists over the years about the types of things they look for. And if you're a founder, you know this stuff already, but just in case, let's talk about it real quick. The first and foremost thing is that the money people are going to back leaders that they trust and respect and that they think will be successful. Because there's a common belief that a good leader will figure out a way. And so that's really helpful. And maybe you are a great leader and the funders will look at you and go, bam, this guy's got it. But the best way to prove that you're a good leader is by having already done the things that demonstrate that you're a good leader. And that includes building great teams. Because the next thing that they tend to look at is what kind of people have you attracted?
Yeah.
Have you attracted good people? Are they working somewhat autonomously? Because they know that when they give you that check and you start scaling up, you're not going to be able to keep your arms around everything anymore. And those people that you've got hanging around already are likely to be the ones that are driving what happens next. So they want to know, are those people capable of leading? So what have you done to help them become leaders? They didn't need to be leaders up till now. You could do everything as a founder. But if you don't prepare them for what's next, then funders are going to go, wow, you're a little weak. And what they'll want to do, by the way, is bring in their guy. Like most venture capital firms have a small team of people that they know and trust who they can say, look, you're not ready. We like your idea. We're going to put our guy in to get things going because you can't do it. Now, as a founder, this is a terrible thing because that guy is got a formula, and that formula isn't your formula. It's their formula. So if you want to have your own formula, you need to get it before you start entering due diligence. You need to show them that you've thought through all aspects of the business that you're building, not the one you have, the one you're building. They want to know that this organizational structure that you're going to start creating around this growth is going to be sustainable and scalable. And that's what intentional culture is all about, Tom.
Yeah, and we've done this, right? I did it in a small company, but it was even publicly traded. Where while we were working there, the stock price went from about $2 a share to about $20 a share, right? And the people who came in and then it was sold to a private sale, people who came in and bought it, they were buying those team structures. They weren't buying, believe me, they were not buying the tech. They were buying team structures they believed in and experience that they believed in that had mostly been developed in the last year or two, using the techniques that we describe and wildly successful. So it's like now, no, whether or not once they acquire you, they allow you to survive, that's a totally different story. Anyone who's been through enough mergers and acquisitions as I have knows that the likelihood of that is relatively low, but it's much higher if you have a culture that they know they're buying. So that's a conversation for another day. You want the exit, you want the result, build the culture that people want to invest in. You want to keep working there, build the culture that survives the investment rounds. Because they do have people, they will bring them in. They will remake the culture in their image and likeness if you're not otherwise prepared. So a really good example, Tom, of why you want this done before, not after.
Right.
Once
And
they're in, they will provide the after.
yeah, I mean, venture capital firms are like people. They're all different, and they all decide for themselves about what's important. You know, some venture capital firms look very close at process. They want to see that repeatability and reliability of your operations to ensure that you're not just flying by the seat of your pants. So that can be important too. And you know, a lot of the ceremonies that we recommend to you are built, are designed specifically for that purpose. They are
Yep.
more people processes than automation and stuff like that. That's getting easier and easier to do now, especially with AI. You know, automating processes and structuring processes. You can prompt that sort of stuff in and out of existence in a morning. But people processes are a different matter. And AI hasn't figured that one out yet. We know how to do it, but
I mean, it can be a great coach, but you need someone to put in the proper prompt. If you want to think about what we're doing, we're going to be giving you the vocabulary and the structure to prompt your AI to help you with culture.
yeah, and you could feed it our book, and it'll tell you
It'll chew it
exactly.
up.
Yeah, it'll tell you how to answer those prompts in a more structured and organized way.
Yeah, all true. Like I know other methodologists who do that, who feed, and I do that with your and my material. I feed I feed all of my books in to get the AI to remember what I've forgotten.
Right. It's a form of rag, I guess they call
But
it.
yeah, great point today, Tom. Which is you have that very limited window right before you scale to really to you want you know how many times I've been brought in after they've scaled.
That's what people do. As I like to say, humans are great problem solvers. They're horrible problem avoiders.
Yeah,
Don't be a human.
oh, a fun topic. Hey, this particular problem, you solve it before you scale. It is actually trivial to solve. And people don't get that. When I talk about building Menlo, I'm like, it's the easiest thing I ever did. Right? Menlo's a company I founded that became a little bit world famous for its process and methodology, much of which is captured in this book, wildly successful. It was easy because we had agreed, all the founders agreed to the process, to the ceremonies, and to the value and approach before we started the company.
Yeah.
And we brought on a couple of initial employees who had worked with us at a prior business who already knew the ceremonies. And they just trained everyone who was hired. I was literally, from the point of view of getting the team highly operational, the easiest thing I've ever done.
Yeah. And I think what's really interesting there is that the culture at Menlo is so strong that it actually changed customer behavior.
Yeah.
That is a powerful statement about the reach of a strong culture, that you can actually influence the way your customers operate just by virtue of their desire to work with you because of your success. And they abdicate some of their desires to you basically because they trust that the success that you've had will accrue to them if they go along.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we built a very transparent process. So like we worked hard on building that trust every week, a little bit
Right.
more each week that they worked with us.
Right. Which, again for another day, but the reason that we emphasize values uh, on top of mission and vision is because values tell everyone how to behave when no one's looking.
Yeah.
Cool.
Great points today, Tom.
Well, thanks. I would love to hear any stories that you, dear listener, have had with due diligence, and maybe help some of the other founders who watch these videos learn about some insights that you've had during a due diligence process. I know that they're very different from one firm to the next, and I'll bet you have some cool stories. So if you have them, please drop them in the comments for us. If you enjoyed this little video of ours, click the like button. And please, if you wouldn't mind, we leave this request to the end, which a lot of people tell us is a mistake, but We like to keep things low profile. We like to earn your trust before we ask anything of you. And here we are at the end of the video asking you to please click that subscribe button. Just give us a click. It not only allows you to get updates when we drop these videos, but also will help other founders find them as well. So click that link. And in the meantime, if you have some due diligence coming your way in the not too distant future, reach out to us at beintentional.biz, and we would love to work with you to get things whipped into shape so that you can be sure to get the maximum amount of money you're looking for from the better VC firms. Because in an ideal world, it would be nice if you're picking which VC you want to go with rather than going with the only one that was willing to give you money. Until next time, this is Tom.
And Tom.
Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.
Bye.